Once upon a time in the charming village of Elmsworth, nestled between rolling hills and a glistening river, lived a spirited young boy named Oliver. His heart was as vast as the sky, and his laughter could make even the grumpiest villager smile. Yet Oliver's life was far from joyful. He lived in a grand mansion under the tyranny of his cruel stepmother, Agatha. Agatha was as cold as the stone walls of her mansion, and she treated Oliver with unrelenting harshness. From the crack of dawn to the dead of night, Oliver toiled scrubbing floors, tending gardens, and preparing feasts for Agatha's lavish parties. Despite her wealth, Agatha was miserly with kindness, especially towards Oliver, whom she saw as nothing more than a burden. Oliver found solace in the heart of the village, where he was beloved by all. His favorite refuge was the old stone library, run by the kind and wise Mr. Thompson. The library was a treasure trove of tales and adventures, and Mr. Thompson always had a new story to share. One crisp autumn afternoon, while dusting the highest shelves, Oliver discovered an ancient leather-bound book. Its title, The Secret of the Whispering Woods, was etched in faded gold leaf. Intrigued, Oliver sat in a cozy corner and began to read. The book spoke of a hidden treasure deep within the Whispering Woods, a treasure that could grant the deepest wish of its finder. That night, as the mansion lay silent and dark, Oliver sneaked out, clutching the book and a small lantern. The Whispering Woods loomed ahead, its trees rustling as if sharing secrets. Guided by the book's cryptic clues, Oliver ventured deeper into the forest. The path was treacherous with gnarled roots and shadows playing tricks on his mind, but he pressed on, driven by hope. Hours passed, and just as dawn began to break, Oliver stumbled upon a moonlit clearing. In its center stood a majestic oak tree, ancient and wise. At its base was an ornate chest, half buried and covered in moss. With trembling hands, Oliver unearthed the chest and opened it. Inside, amidst sparkling jewels and gold, was a small glowing orb, the heart of the woods. The book had described the orb's magical powers. It could grant a single heartfelt wish. Clutching the orb, Oliver closed his eyes and wished with all his might for a family who would love him in a place where he truly belonged. A radiant light enveloped him, warm and comforting. When it faded, Oliver found himself standing before a quaint, ivy-covered cottage on the edge of the village. The door creaked open, and out stepped Mr. Thompson, his eyes twinkling with joy. "Welcome home, Oliver," Mr. Thompson said, his voice filled with warmth. "I've always dreamed of having a son like you." Tears of happiness streamed down Oliver's face. His wish had come true. He had found a loving father and a new home. Together, Oliver and Mr. Thompson transformed the cottage into a haven of love and laughter. The villagers often visited, sharing in their joy and marveling at the magic that had brought them together. As for Agatha, her mansion fell silent and cold. Without Oliver's warmth, it became a hollow shell, reflecting the emptiness of her heart. The villagers, aware of her cruelty, shunned her, and she lived the rest of her days in lonely isolation. Oliver's days were now filled with adventures and learning. Mr. Thompson, a fount of knowledge and kindness, taught him about the world beyond Elmsworth. They explored the village together, helped those in need, and cherished every moment as father and son. And so, in the village of Elmsworth, Oliver found his happily ever after, proving that even in the darkest times, hope and kindness can lead to the brightest of futures.